PLC Network here at CES 2025, and we're at the Panasonic booth with Sean here, and we have some cool cameras to discuss, cameras that are already on the market.
Correct.
But they're the latest that Panasonic has really launched into the market, and what's fun is we're actually shooting on a GH series right now, which is affordable, it's simple, which is crazy. It's one of the smallest cameras in our inventory, and we use it the most half the time. And so obviously there's been some new generations that have come out.
Yes.
You got now the GH7.
Correct, yes. So the GH7 now being like the, what many would consider as the proper successor to the GH5. Made a ton of major improvements. Probably first and foremost, the one that many people have always, kind of had a little bit of a challenge with the GH5 was autofocus.
Yeah.
So now with the GH7s, we are PDAF, so we're phase hybrid autofocus. So still fully compatible with all the existing lenses that someone on a GH platform or any Micro Four Thirds camera would have. But when you get deeper into it with the sensor technology, with the various recording modes that we offer, and even into audio with this camera, that's where it really shines for event coverage, content creators, and even photographers. It's a GH, photographers are still actually really liking this platform in some areas. So I guess we can start top down. Biggest thing about it is going to be the attention that we gave to audio capture.
Okay.
For anyone working with a GH camera. So on the GH7, if you have the XLR2 audio adapter, which is what we have on here, it's going to give you 4 channels of input. And probably the best part is it's 32-bit float embedded directly onto the video file in the camera.
Okay,
so now, it's a situation like this where, levels, if you're really good, you know how to set levels and you can do it quickly, but if you're really rushing, running through, and maybe you don't have the best, or maybe one of the 4 people you're talking to is way too excited, now you got that capability to have yourself a little bit of safety to fix those levels in post, and you're not having to worry about syncing that audio after the fact. It's all embedded right into the footage. And that'll do 4 channels on the GH7. When we start going further into it, it's 4K 120 frames per second, and that's derived from the 5.8K resolution, so it's the sharpest 4K 120 you're going to get. So it's 4K 24, 30p, C4K options, 5.8K in what we call open gate on this camera as well. So knowing that in modern creation, we're going to create a YouTube video, maybe a piece for TV, but also you need to create a piece to be putting up on social media for your vertical content, for TikTok, Instagram, any of those, right? Well, capturing an open gate on the GH7 means you just film that once, because you're filming it in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Okay, yeah.
At a higher resolution. So now, instead of having to film the segment or film the interview once for horizontal, and then either crop out of that 16:9 your really tiny, lower res, skinny shot that you don't really have much framing control over, you film it in open gate and do your crops later. We have tools in cameras like the S9 that give you your frame markers. So the S9 will give you multiple frame markers to show you that guidance while you're actually on the capture side. So we have that. This camera also does ProRes RAW internally to CF Express, so getting up on the really high end there, you've got it. ProRes, MOV, MP4, you kind of name it, it's in the camera. And it also has direct integration to Frame.io. So Frame.io, camera to cloud, within our system, connect it right in, you send proxy video files, your RAW and your JPEG still images as well. There's no middleman involved with it, so it literally just connects right to Frame.io's platform. So now, while you're out here filming a segment, if you've got a cell connection or whatever, maybe you're using for live streaming, you can constantly be having those proxies being loaded up to an offsite editor.
Okay.
And now they can be doing all the basic edits they need, so that by the end of the day, you're just providing them the full res files and just kicking them out. Your social team's ready to go, because 1080 is going to be probably fine for most social.
Yeah.
So we have all of that built into this. And then, like I mentioned, photography-wise, it's a 25 megapixel camera. It uses a totally new sensor within this world that is very similar to what you see in some really high-end cinema options, where we have it called Dynamic Range Boost. So you get dynamic range performance on this camera similar to full frame cameras. That's an independently verified statement, not me saying that. Photography sense, 30 frames per second, burst modes.
Okay.
High resolution handheld shot, and probably my favorite is called Live View Composite. I can take a photograph in the middle of downtown Las Vegas and let it run for 3 hours and have perfectly exposed city streets and the exact stars that are coming in overhead all built into the image.
Very good. So there's a long ways you've come since like the GH5. Now, are you still targeting like the same kind of similar, like around $3,000 price point for something like this?
$2,199.
Why don't we have this? So we need to obviously upgrade our inventory. I think we've fallen into that gap. If it isn't broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and the GH5s and everything else have just done so well. Well. It's unbelievable what they have accomplished in the industry for so many people, professional and beginners and prosumers alike.
That's part of our philosophy. We build products that last. We always have.
Yeah.
So that does put into a bit of that point where it's like, well, it ain't broke.
Yep.
And we'll only ever really push a major update when there are reasons to push an update. Otherwise, we'll do firmware support.
And you send companies like Canon running for their money, which is always, like, it used to be a Canon world.
Yeah.
And when the GH5 came out, and around that, because it's not just the GH5, it kind of changed everything.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly, it's like you're thinking Canon, you're thinking Nikon was big back then. Now suddenly it's Panasonic and Sony that took over the scene, and it just destroyed them for the most part. I mean, Nikon's still doing good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Canon. I'm really sorry, but it's true. Canon fell behind. Panasonic was always ahead for the full frames, for the micro, all of them. And higher resolutions, always better features, better everything. To the point where you're seeing these used. The GH5 alone has been used in so many professional music videos.
Oh yeah.
From everything from, I believe, Madonna, I think it was, to like bands
Cold
you might
War
not have heard of, like
all
the
that
Hans, or the Who, the HU, They did their UVU, I believe was the name of the video, using this on a drone, flying around this big mountainscape. It was awesome. So this is just light years better.
Yep.
And at a good price point. So that's without the lens, I'm guessing, $2,199.
Yes, that's the body.
So that's probably where my mind was thinking. It's probably like $2,800 with
$2,500 to $2,700 with a kit, somewhere around that range.
That's perfect.
And that doesn't even touch the fact that, so like you mentioned high-end productions, right? So we launched this camera at Cinegear last year, so obviously after CES. The reason we launched it there is that this camera also has the ability with a license code to have native ARRILOG C3 as your log capture profile.
Okay.
Not a taking Vlog to ARRILOG. It's a Arri's actual ARRILOG C3 in this as well. So you're talking, you have that flexibility to go proper full-blown production with it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And then at a perfect price point. And then, of course, the S9.
Yes.
If you want to take that next step up and go full frame.
Yeah. So with the S9, this was one of our more fun launches throughout 2024. Really designed to be that camera that, one, has some personality, so it comes in multiple different colors depending on the region that you're in. And for all intent and purpose, it's basically an S5 Mark II in a smaller chassis, so maybe not as thermally safe as an S5 Mark II or an S5 Mark IIX, which have active cooling. But this camera really is a kind of cornerstone piece because it's introducing new creators into actually using a proper camera.
Yeah.
So, and we did that, a number of things to address what a cell phone user is going to be concerned about by making a change. So, direct connection into your mobile device through an app called Lumix Lab, Bluetooth connection, and then a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi bridge.
Okay.
That will, as you are capturing JPEGs, RAWs, and MP4 video, is automatically sending that to your phone. So by the time you're done using it, you put it down. Once you reach your phone out of your pocket, all of that content is in your camera roll, just as if you use your phone to capture it.
Right.
So we made a big stride to make sure that that experience was great for those new users that want to get into it. From a high-level production, we have a feature called what we call MP4 Lite, or it's an Open Gate Lite. So it's a 4K version of Open Gate to get you a little bit easier on mobile storage. And then our real-time LUT function. So those that don't want to spend a ton of time in post, want to be able to just capture it right, and then get out to delivery. this is basically the camera that is like the go-to in the market.
And what's the price point on this one?
So this one's going to vary a little bit. If I remember right, the price is $16.99, $17.99
Okay.
as a kit. And then that will come with our 18 to 40, which is a collapsible lens. So kit lens there, great for travel, pretty wide on a full frame at 18 millimeter.
Yes.
Yeah, just a solid overall platform.
That's fantastic. It's at a reasonable price point. It's great if you're trying to make the jump up from the GH7 or GH5 or anything like that, and you want that full frame. And of course, same thing, uses all of the same lenses as the previous generation.
So yeah, little different than the GH line. So since
Okay.
this one's full frame, this is on the L mount specification. So the L mount is an alliance between Leica, Sigma, Panasonic, and there's I think 4 or 5 other companies involved in it as well. So you have access to our lenses, which we've got on display, and you have access to first party for Sigma and Leica. So unlike years past where you'd buy a Sigma lens, put it on your camera, you wouldn't really get all the performance out of it. You get all the performance on this because they are considered first party.
And I'm a big fan of Leica too, so that's
yes.
pretty cool. All right, so, and obviously these are 2024, so both of these are on the market. They're both
Yes.
reasonably priced. This is the latest and greatest coming from Panasonic. And so what about the GH8? I'm just kidding. That's can't talk about stuff like that yet. Probably doesn't even exist.
Even if there was stuff that I knew, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
No, but this is a fantastic camera. I myself wouldn't mind buying one of these just for personal use, because I could drag that around everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to find out more information, obviously go to Panasonic's website.
Yep.
And just about every retailer in the world that carries Panasonic. You got everything from Amazon, B&H, you name it. You can find Panasonic's cameras and check them out. If you want to go micro, if you want to go full. Both of these are formidable cameras with amazing features for both beginners and pro users alike. So thank you so much. This is fantastic.
Thanks for coming
Always
by.
fantastic, and can't wait to see what's next.
Oh yeah.
If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest, and or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.